I think I got it back. Okay. Do we have Mike back? I think we do. Um, that was weird. Well, hang on. We'll fix that. We'll fix that. Hi. Uh, hmm. Um, no, I want to get rid of this. I want to remove that. And mic. So I'm going to go to settings and fix that. And audio and microphone. It's, I see it's working. It is working. I see it reading. Yeah. Wow, that was weird. Must have been aliens. Sorry, I couldn't resist that. Ah, well, this is Breaking the Silence. And thank you for being here. This is the pre show, a little late, but not too bad. I don't know what that was, but all of a sudden, if I shut down and restart the computer, then it kills the stream. And so I struggled with Task Manager and a few other things, and suddenly it sort of came back. And I saw it; it shut everything down for the mic and the camera, but I could still text, and they could still, put up something on the screen. So I knew I just needed to go into settings and reconnect everything. So that was thrilling. A little bit of a scare there. So a new deal on the channel is that every time you hear that, or a nice Buddhist bell, that means somebody just gave us a super sticker, a super chat, and helped support the channel. And it was Mary's idea that we should do something special. And every time someone did that, because everything you do helps us to keep this going. And it's greatly appreciated. So just so you know, when you hear that, it's not time for dinner. It means that we just got some support. So that kind of threw me for a loop. The technical glitch is the first one we've ever had. Um, tonight's show. Yeah, tonight's show. It's interesting. I mean, I know that a lot of families have been disrupted by this experience and by these encounters, by these events that happen. And we know that they run in the family more often than not. And, but not everybody talks about it. And if somebody does talk about it or brings it up, they might get very, very disturbed and tell you that there's no such thing. And I mean, I got this from my mother a lot, but yet she was sitting on top of something and um, there was something going on. I thought at one time it was only on one side of the family, my dad's side, but it was on both sides. So, which should come as no surprise to any of you, right? Oh, well, you want me to ring it again? No, I won't. I only will ring that bell if someone gives us a couple of bucks. So, oh, thank you, Ann. Hey, Ann Carter just gave me $10. Thank you so much. See, that's how it works. So we're doing okay. We're struggling to keep the channel going, and Mary and I are putting a lot of our own personal funds into all of this, but we know that that's slowly going to change. We have to stick with it, stay diligent, and we love doing this. So it's the main reason for doing it, but we're finding it's costly at the same time. So not terrible, but just it would be nice. And thank you, Ann. Um, see entities, Catkins, she won't talk about it. Yeah, well, it's, and they'll even get kind of angry about it. Like, you didn't see that. That's just crazy. And um, you wonder why they're so hostile about it. And that's why, because they're afraid and they've kept it secret and they want to keep it that way. They don't want to face it. Because as we know, it's absolutely crazy. This whole thing is just crazy as hell. And we listened to Jeff last night, and you know, it just, if you're on the outside looking in, it just sounds so crazy. You were disembodied, you were an orb and all that, but to us it sounds perfectly natural, I guess. It's whoa, 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 whoa. Thank you, W. Decker. Wow. Well, we appreciate you. My goodness. And Jill. Wow. Thank you, Jill. Thank you so much. I tell you guys, it just means a lot. Um, Native Americans knew they existed for thousands of years. Agent uh, Ezreal, is that, did I pronounce that right? First of all, welcome to Breaking the Silence. Where did that go? And yes, they have. And I have a great deal of Native American in my blood, thanks to my grandmother. And I'm very attuned to the Native Americans and their knowledge of the Star People. And, they were called savages, right? Pancho, thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Rachel, thank you so much. It's just so sweet. Yeah. Um, some of you are new here, and it's really appreciated. So as I was saying about tonight's show, um, so it's kind of about that. It's about my mom, and we didn't really see eye to eye or get along well at all. And what I don't talk about in the show, because it's only 15 minutes long, and that is that when I left the San Francisco Bay Area and I came down here to seek my career in Hollywood. We love you too, Jill. I was sort of shunned for that by my family. I mean, I had some of them tell me that I needed to be talented to be able to come down here and I'll never succeed. But when I did succeed and I was doing quite well, I wanted to fly my mom down here and give her the limo treatment and all that stuff because I had money back then. And yeah, she didn't want to do it. I don't even think she believed me because years later, when we started talking again, like 18 years, did not talk to each other. She said, by the way, I saw that movie you said you worked on. You notice that? She said, you said you worked on. She's supposed to take my word for it. I worked on that movie, but she didn't. I saw your name in the credits. I didn't get a sorry. I didn't get anything. She was just that way. I still don't know everything that was going on in her mind and what was going on with the family, but that this was probably at the root of it because there was just it was thick with it. And when I was a kid, I knew something was different about her family, and it wasn't um, like other people's families. I'd go to my friend's house, and their parents would be all loving and come on in, you want something to eat, and it's just gracious. My friends would come over to the house, and if they had long hair, they had to put it in a ponytail. They weren't treated the same way I was treated at their homes at all. It was you almost had to have a scheduled meeting to be at my house. So hi all. Irving plays catch up. Wow, hello Irving, thank you for joining us on Breaking the Silence. Thought I was abducted. It was an abduction dream. Weirdest part was at the end, the creature put its fingers inside my skull and felt my brain. I felt awake and up to talking about it. Wow. Well, yeah, boy, that was a rough dream. If it was a dream, I'm not going to say one way or the other because I really don't know. But we saw this girl today that she was recommended to us as possibly somebody to come on the show. Very young, pretty girl who was scared to death of grays. And she said that she had sleep paralysis for a while, and she had 10 times she saw the grays. And but she could watch movies like Alien, the original Alien, and didn't bother. She thought the alien was cool. The movie, geez, Starship Troopers. She thought the brain sucking alien was amazing, and she just thought that was so cool. But if she sees grays, they absolutely terrify her, and she can't look at them. She watched The Fourth Kind. She couldn't take that. She wondered what the deal was with owls because she was a military brat, and she saw owls all the time when she was growing up, and she didn't realize there was a connection with it. But she doesn't quite feel that she's having these experiences yet. She has all the markers. The way she described the grays was amazing. She said they were up really close and they had kind of grayish skin. She didn't know a lot about it. In fact, when she talked about Fire in the Sky, she said some guy in Arizona that got abducted. So, uh, but the way she described him really got me because if they're up real close to you, I have seen that there are eyes behind the black eyes, and she was describing that the pupils were on the outside and the iris was on the inside, and that's very, very close to what I know. And I think some of you know that too. And the way she described the skin, I mean, this hardly sounded like a sleep paralysis dream to me. It's for someone who doesn't is not into UFOs and all that kind of stuff to have something of that exactness. Um, I'm not going to tell her that she's being abducted or having these experiences on that they're real, because that's not my place to tell anybody that. But what she said is highly suggestive. I think you'll all agree. So we're going to see if we can get her to come forward on the show. But if she goes to our channel, and I have to laugh because um, Mary, sent the link to our channel, and she gets terrified by the grays. If you go to my channel, our channel, all of your channel, there's just grays everywhere. I mean, tonight's show with the piece of art I did with my gray looking at my mom right in the face, and that's all was all done CGI. The mom image is what we call a metahuman. They're very realistic human beings that we can animate. The gray was something that I made. Hi, Ike. Hi, Ike. Um, and she sees all that stuff. I don't think she'll talk to us. I don't know. We'll find out. So, did the like? Cool. Thank you. And we're using this thing now. Mary's idea. Oh, I'm not supposed to ring it except when somebody contributes a super sticker or some support for the channel. But if you hear that, that's what it's for. So. And we really appreciate the likes. The likes are very, very important and very supportive because it sends a message to YouTube to recommend this channel. And the more it recommends the channel, the more it gets to other people. So, who wants to talk about something besides hearing me? You're going to hear me do another show in a little while here. And it was a hard one to do. It was a hard one to do. They're all hard. I mean, I have to sit there and look at myself in the edit bay and listen to myself, and it's one thing to get recorded, and then another one sit there. Oh, well, thanks, Count. And another thing to have to edit yourself and relive it over and over again in the editorial process. Got a big scar that looks like a burn on my stomach. No idea where it came from. Anyone else have mysterious marks? Well, I know I get them. I have all along. I'm pretty sure everyone else here who has these experiences also is getting them from time to time. My sighting on the way to on the way to New England. Yeah, James had a sighting last night. James Benjamin Pike. He emailed us, texted us this morning. Well, thanks, Catkins. Yeah. I don't know if I'm brave. I mean, I do know that when I went quiet back in 2000, people started to slowly gravitate back towards me. Um, they didn't talk to me about what happened. Why did I leave? Why am I not talking about this stuff anymore? But I have noticed that since I have started talking again, that I get a lot of the tone of silence from people that are not involved in our community, and that's just bound to happen. And I don't know if that requires bravery or just being stubborn. Um, you know, it's not good to be in the closet about this stuff. I have a red mark on my forehead. I don't know where it came from. I think that, at least in my case, I'm very careful. When I bruise myself or hit myself, I kind of make a mental note of it. But when you go to bed and you don't have a single mark on your body, you wake up with a gaping wound on the top of your skull that you couldn't really have got in your sleep. I mean, how? You have to question. I have pictures of it. It happened twice to me in the last couple of years. Oh, Boone Ivory Templeton. Uh, I'm glad you discovered this too, and I'm really glad to have you here. Uh, you're very appreciated, and welcome to Breaking the Silence. And Florida, man, welcome. I'm seeing a lot of new people in here, and it's really appreciated. I guess word of mouth is spreading it, and hopefully um, YouTube is as well. The topic of aliens is more openly spoken of than it has been. I guess it's becoming normal. I don't know about that. Um, we still got to do that thing where we walk down the street and um, ask people on the street. Uh, it'd be interesting to find out. I did see something like that done recently, and you get half the people saying you're a lunatic if you think there's UFOs and visitors here on the planet, and they just absolutely have their minds turned off to it. And then you have the people who will pleasantly say, "Well, I've got an open mind. I think there could be more," and really that's a good start. Mark on my arm. Why am I not seeing the rest of your comment, Brookers? And welcome, Brookers. I think so. Many of the reports of UFOs. Okay, very small. Oh, scoop. Only hand. Very small. I think you meant scoop. This is enlightenment. Well, that's the idea. That's what we're talking about. We're hoping to get people to open their minds. I mean, they're completely, so many of them on this planet don't know who they are, don't know what they're connected to. The forest outside their house, they think that's out there and they're inside their house, and no, it's all one. They're connected to every bit of it, every star in the sky. And if we can just get the human race into that level of consciousness, for starters, it would make a huge difference, in my opinion. As an aerospace, I have technology but no experience. Side. Disclosure. Well, I tell you, if we're going to depend on the shadow government and our government, which actually are separate in some levels, to give us disclosure, I don't even know if I trust them. I mean, these are the people that doctor NASA photographs and lie to us. So how do we know when they're telling the truth? You know the truth. You don't need them to tell you. And I don't know if the public is going to believe them either, because they've been lied to so much, especially recently, that they don't trust them. I know they don't trust the Supreme Court. I mean, they've just done themselves in. So, as a community, as people who think for ourselves, use critical thinking, research for ourselves, educate ourselves about subjects, and not take the word of someone else or some government, I think we're the ones bringing forth any form of disclosure that you can possibly imagine. Boy, these comments are going by so fast; they're kind of hard to to get them all. So please forgive me. More chance of aliens outing themselves than the government telling us. Um, I don't know. I mean, if you consider, Brookers, that the amount of UFOs being captured on cell phones and other forms of media devices, cameras, is so prolific right now, and so much of it, I can't even keep up with it. There was a time when if you got one here and there every month, you'd say, wow, look at that. But now it's just like heaps of them. And they're from people of everyday life who will always tell you, I'm really not into UFOs. I don't know anything about the subject, but I saw this and here it is. And I mean, James saw something last night. I haven't seen anything for a while because I haven't been out looking. I've been, it's been foggy and cloudy over here and stuff. It's finally cleared up, but we've been really busy. But the binoculars are sitting right there, and I really going to make an effort to bring home the Black Magic camera with the star scope on it that Mark Sims was so kind to let us have to use. Because with that star scope on it, I can really capture something in the dark that normally wouldn't turn up in camera, and I really want to do that because I seem to attract them. There have been people around me for years. Hey, John, who were skeptical, but we were out camping, and they said, "Steve, is that a UFO?" And then, sure enough, see something zipping along, stopping, disappearing, reappearing, or flying over, and you just watch the change in them. It's really beautiful. It's like, oh my God, this is wonderful. They don't go, oh, this is scary. I don't want to see this. They're just like, no, it's just the exact opposite. They just wow, and then they're hooked. So wow, what's that? Where are we? Oh yes, Mary. Wow, that's great. We need to start with our government's disclosure. Yes, we absolutely do. And thanks for being here. Oh my God, that's just terrific. Millions a day, people in contact, and anyone being one time. Yep. Oh, gee, that's another one. Judy, thank you for the super sticker. And that's the bell we're using, John. You just popped in, and this was Mary's idea. We use this during meditation and yoga, and she thought it'd be great. And so you can see it's really a cool bell. I love it. We were going to bring in one of Tibetan bowls, but Mary said this would be better. Yes, always look up for it, man. Absolutely. In the movie, Don't Look Up. I'm glad you like it, John. I'm glad you like. Oh, okay. Thank you so much. And I, Mary, how do I pronounce her first name? I'm I'm, I'm having a brain fart. Um, Delia. It's Stone Studio. Delia. Oh, is that it? Okay, Delia. Delia, thank you so much, and thanks for joining us. It's a great community, and no one's a leader here. You guys are what make it all happen, and we're here to be together and talk about this subject and hopefully learn something from each other and just feel better about the whole thing. Because alone, one tends to feel that they're losing their mind, but we're not. Catkins, I didn't know whether to feel relief or just to wish I had a hallucination. Well, yeah. Well, that's the thing, and you'll see tonight in tonight's show. Um, I've always, and I still do, kind of hold out this reasonable doubt that maybe it might be something else, but it what my mother did to me completely just destroyed that. So, it's like, I mean, you have fully conscious experiences face to face with the visitors and with the craft, and you have witnesses and everything, and still you'll tell yourself, I must be imagining things. It's just something that's built into us, that's been beaten into us by our culture and by our media and sometimes our own family. So There are a lot of people think the disclosures would not be good. Yes, but unfortunately, it's going to be an avoidable thing one day because the minute that we do achieve faster and light travel and we can get the heck out of this solar system, we're going to be told how things work. I don't think Gene Roddenberry was that far off. So, and that will be disclosure in a big way. And if you remember the episode that Riker is a spy uh, on a world that they want to make contact with because they know they're about to achieve warp capability and they're going into space. The leader of that world said, my world's not ready for you. Please leave. You know what the motivation that writer had for that story. We enjoy hanging out with you. The Cat Master trash that, I feel like the visitors come to us for this reason. Yeah, because they can't, they're not going to get too far. I mean, basically, I think all our people, and I know there's some people in Intel who disagree with me because they're coming forward and they're tired of the deceit and lies, and I understand that and I acknowledge you. But overall, you just want to shoot them down, see if they're friendly, and take their tech. So yes, they talk to us, and I think that really annoys them, and I think that's contributed to abductions that were deceiving and meant to be thought of as being done by the visitors and made very terrifying and very nightmarish when in fact it was our own people behind it. It's a possibility. Yeah, John. Well, I think Next Generation really got into a lot of the issues we're discussing now. There's a good reason for that. A lot of it has to do with the writers. A lot more of it has to do with Gene and his perspective. I mean, let's face it. There are millions of intelligent, sentient beings out there in all different levels of evolution and technology. And some have learned to travel from one star to another, probably thousands and thousands of them, and have been doing it for anywhere from, up to 400 or 500 years ago to millions of years ago. And so the technology is all over the map. And I think, though, we'll find that mostly, um, I could be wrong about this, but I think overall that most of the beings will be humanoid in shape because it seems to be, we got comets flying around out there and they're all carrying the DNA code in them and they do seed other worlds. They certainly seeded this one. We know that because they crashed into this planet over and over again. They brought us all the water that's on this planet. And what's in the water was the seeds. And they even talked about that in Next Generation. So JD, I don't know. I mean, okay, the few times that happened to me, it seemed real. So when Yvonne did the session with me called Head Wound, um, yeah, Carla Turner, God, I loved her. Um, I was taken my under hypnosis. Well, I remember the light coming through the window consciously and people coming into the room, and I was pretty sure that they were the Greys. But then things get kind of fuzzy after that. And that's why I did a session with Yvonne. And Yvonne was very interested in that one because a lot was going on during the 90s. It was weekly. It was really prolific. But what came out in hypnosis is I was taken to a base, which I'm guessing was China Lake. They have an underground base there, I think. I don't know for sure, but it felt like that. And I was taken there and I was in a medical room, like a, examination room, but not alien tech at all. It was all human stuff and white windows. Guy comes in wearing uh, a white Dr. Smock ID badge. I could describe him exactly. He had dark hair. He's balding. He's probably in his 40s, had a mustache. And there were two Greys there too. And they were doing this thing on my head where they put this device on my head and I could feel it literally going into my skull. And the Greys were calming me and they told me that this was going to keep you alive. This is something we have to do. And when they removed this little, it was like a series, like a circle of little balls with a thing in the middle of it, and a little drill thing that came down. And when it went on my head, it felt cold and it kind of numbed it. It was just the idea of what it was doing that was so awful. And then they removed it. So the doctor comes in and he looks at me and he gets mad at the Grays and he says, he's going to see this. He's going to know you weren't careful. It left a hole in my head. Not very big, but it was there. And he's right. I did see it in the morning. I went to see Dr. Roger Lear. He looked at it and he said, this looks like it goes all the way through your skull. And there was this clear fluid coming out of it. We all know what that is. And he commented on that too. And I said, what do we do? And he said, well, just nothing you can do. You're okay. Let it heal. And it was scary, and the mark is probably still there. I haven't looked at it for years, but I didn't hit my head or anything. There was no blood. And there were people. Another time I came to is on a table. I woke up. There were people all around in this room. And they were asleep out on the table. And I got up and I kind of shook my head and I started walking around. There were doors that pushed open and I walked into a hallway and I saw one of the Grays. And it looked at me and walked by really quick. And I saw a door at the end of the hallway and I went and I opened it. And as I'm standing on the outside of the door, I was in a cavern. It was like a whole cavern, hollowed out cavern. And there were buildings built on the floor of this cavern. And I could hear a Jeep in the background coming, and they grabbed me, they pulled me back into the room, and then they put me out again. But I remembered it, and Yvonne and I did work on that too. So another time I was sitting in the back of a car with Jesse Long, and we were about to go into a tunnel, and there were military people sitting in front, and I looked out the window and I see Yvonne with some military people. And she's distressed and she's pointing at me and Jesse. And I'm like, what is going on here? And again, that was the last thing I could remember. So I don't know what to make of that. Is that mill lab stuff, as it's called? I mean, that was 3 instances that I know of. There may be more. I'd have to think about it for a while, but it was, I just don't know what to make of it. Carla, yeah, she was a great speaker. I knew her well. I would see her at her lectures at MUFON around town here, and she came to Yvonne's Serial group as a special guest one day, and she was very smart, very driven, very strong person. I had a lot of respect for her. So somebody must have been talking about Yvonne and doing work with Yvonne. Yvonne's great. You won't find her intimidating, and she's really knows her stuff, and she does everything by the book, and she's not someone who leads you in any way. Oh, Judy, you're welcome. Those are all quick brushes of what happened. There was more detail in that, but that was the meat and potatoes of it. Here again is that thing. Is that I remembered these things kind of in a dream as well, but I never forgot them. They didn't any more than I would forget any other trauma that I've had in my life. Memories. And when hypnosis more came out, the thing is that you're asleep, right? You're asleep. And all of a sudden, you're not asleep. You're going like this with your eyes. What the hell? Where am I? You know you're awake, but you're not in your bedroom anymore. When this happens to you, you have no idea what's going on. You haven't paid attention to UFOs or listened to anyone else talk about this stuff. You will automatically assume that's just a dream. Because what else do you have? Because if you actually considered that it wasn't a dream and that you really were taken or something like that, it might drive you straight up the walls. You know you can't talk to anybody about it. So it has to be a dream. a dream you'll remember the whole entire rest of your life. You'll have dreams tonight, and you may remember them when you first wake up, but next day they're gone. Years from now, they're more than gone. And Judy's talked about this herself exactly in this way. So, and so have others. So that's what I know. Oh, I see. Yeah, I kept them, and but I also kept in the same journal. I kept the things I remember consciously. But the minute I woke up, I'd write it all down, and Yvonne asked me to. And I'm pretty sure I can't find the two books, so I've got a feeling that they went away in the flood, um, which is really disheartening because I had them all in there. I'm not ready to believe that yet. We haven't looked here for them. Um, but they're those little black books about this big. They're like a bound book, blank white pages, and I would even do drawings of what I saw. And there were 2 years worth of them that I did filled. Um, so I'm hoping they turn up. I know what you're talking about, John. You can't define it. It's really hard. There's some of this stuff that happens to us that you just can't put into words. I have a real hard time sometimes when I turn the camera on myself, articulating what I'm seeing and feeling, and because I'm very visual, and I've got one of those um, minds where I see everything visually. I remember things visually. I guess you call it a photographic memory. I don't know for sure. And you experience this stuff, but by looking at it in your mind, and you just can't find the words for it, or the correct expression for it. And then sometimes later, after I've been on camera, a couple of days later, I do find it. Too late now. I've never had any profound missing time events that I can explain. Well, I have. I have. I've never had any profound missing time. Oh, it's fade where the building's looking just normal. Um, yeah, there's all kinds you can do to. I know about heavy sync because I read Monroe's both his books, and I found them really something. And I also got all the tapes back in the late '70s for the Gateway program, and did them. And it's 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 scary to leave your body. I mean, we do it probably a lot and don't even know it, but it is, when you do it consciously, the first thought that came to my mind, am I dead? And you rush back into your body. It's a very startling thing. Let's see what else. I'm having one of those moments. My brain is looking at comments, and it's been a long week. It's been difficult, just Mary and I alone, keeping this breaking the silence community together, and keeping the shows coming, because until I can get help, you know, again, I've said it before, I shoot, I write the scripts, I uh, edit. Somebody was saying, I wish you'd narrate the visuals at the beginning. Well, my answer to that is that I do in every single show, but the opening that starts up the warm up, those are all clips of the effects used in the various shows in the series that we've done. And we're up to 12, and I'm working on script number 13 right now. So is there a good biography online for Breaking the Science Universe? Anyone? No, not that I know of. Um, the only thing that I have that's published is my book, uh, but something is there. Um, I have a hard time just finding the time to read books of people that are coming on our shows, because if I take the time to do that, then I take time away from being able to make the shows happen every Saturday. Um, and it's a lot of work to get one of those shows put together. And I know they're only 10 and 15 minutes long, sometimes 20, and they're not that long, but it takes a heck of a lot of work. Um, if you were here, you could see what we did every day. We get up at 5 and we hit the computers, and we don't stop until about 4 in the afternoon. We come home and we do a little bit of more work, but we try to relax for a while, and we always get a good night's sleep. And every morning we do yoga, we do meditation. On Mondays we go to Buddhist meditation, and we do all that too, because we really need to do that to keep our spirits on the straight and narrow. So the show tonight starts in about 15 minutes. I hope you enjoy it. Sometimes I just don't know if I'm hitting the marks or not. It's so hard to articulate.
Hit the bell and close it.
Okay. What I'm feeling and seeing, and I know you all understand that, but I do the best I can. And I'm really tempted to do one show where it's entirely visual and no narrative at all, just what I get from this experience and some of the things that have happened that just defy words. Is the only way I can share it with you, is to show it. And I had an experience just recently where I saw all these blue spirits leaving the dark side of our planet and going off into space. We'll talk more about that in the future, but I just want to visualize that stuff so I can share it with you. So if you have any questions in closing here, or anything you'd like to say, now's the time. I would like to say thank you from the bottom of my heart. There would not be a Breaking the Silence without you. It wouldn't. Don't forget to hit the like button. Thanks, Catkins. Okay, I'm going to ring the bell. It is 4:45, and get ready for the premiere. And we'll see you in there in the chat. And later on, some of you will probably go into the Discord. And once Mary and I get back to the house, we'll check in to see what's going on in there. It takes us about 15 minutes to get back, although we have to do some shopping first. So, Catkins, you're very welcome, and thank you. And Judy, we'll see you next week, and also in a few minutes. So ends the show. Love you.